Alrighty, hey everybody. Well, that was weird. The music just stopped. Give me just a minute here, see if I can get it back. There we go. At least it stopped for me, but hopefully it didn't stop for you. How is everyone doing this awesome, hopefully it's nice for you, Sunday? Oh boy, look at me. What is going on here? There we go. How is everyone? Great to connect here. As always, great to see familiar faces. Gift wrapped, always great for you to join us. Great to see you here on the comments or on the chat window. So gift wrap says, made it. Hi Athen, hi all. I've had a tearful week doing a lot of retro thinking, trying not to worry about the upcoming change in governments. I don't feel any change. Other countries will shape U.S. future. Physically, I'm feeling okay. The toe is slow at healing. All right, well, we have our ups and downs, and, this has been, I would say, generally very challenging past few lunar cycles, with, of course, the Mars being retrograde. It's not easy for Mars to be retrograde. We've also had some other challenging things going on. So Gift Wrap, I hope you feel better. I'm really happy that you were able to join us, and maybe some of the stuff we'll be able to talk about today will be helpful for you on your journey. But always great to see you. Thanks. And always great to have you commenting. Thank you, Gift Wrap. Holly, great to see you. Hello, Athen. Hello, everyone. Hello, Holly. I'm feeling lucky. Hey, Athen, you said that the sun is passing over Pluto this week. Yep, that is right. Sun will be passing over Pluto on Tuesday, to be exact. Well, for most of us around that time. What does the sun generally represent? I have my sun in Scorpio on the cusp of the 6th and 7th houses. Well, that's a great question. I think something that isn't discussed enough, really. I mean, the sun and moon are the two most important elements of the sky, of the astrology, They're both equally important. And, to understand one, we have to understand the other. So both the sun and moon are about the conscious self, the consciousness of the self, perhaps. They are the largest parts of personality. When we look up at the sky, what are the two largest bodies that we see in the sky? It's the sun and moon. Interestingly, both equal in size from our vantage point, even though they are apparently very, very far distances. They're in completely different distances away from ourselves. But the fact that they're both the same size shows that we do have polarities in life, and in this case, the sun and moon are an equal polarity. The sun is the yang, or I'm not going to say masculine because that's dealing more in the Venus and Mars worlds, but it's the more yang consciousness. So yang means more of the outer consciousness, more of the part of ourself that's about going out in the world and being proactive and, getting what we want and, pursuing life, basically more of like the Western mindset. Okay. And that's, of course, why the West places more emphasis on the sun sign than the East, like Vedic India, who places more emphasis on the moon sign. But again, both equally important. And the moon is the yin consciousness, or the inner consciousness, the awareness that we have of within and all of the internal aspects of life. So you could literally take all of life and lump them as either sun dominant or moon dominant, or yang or yin. And so yang would be everything that's, again, more in the outer world, more outer focus, and yin would be everything in the inner world and inner focus. So that's fundamentally what these two planets are about. They are both about consciousness itself, our consciousness, our dominant consciousness. You could say our egos, our ego consciousness, in the way that maybe Jung would have described it. But here the sun is the outer. So when we look at it in astrology, we see it as all of that. It's so much. It's so fundamental. It's like we can look at some of the other planets and kind of dissect how they're different parts of ourselves. But like I said, the sun and moon are the fundamental luminaries. They are the fundamental parts of the stuff. You could say that all the other planets fit into either the sun or moon. You could take all the yang planets, which be the visible ones would be Jupiter and Mars, and fit them within the sun, meaning that anything you wanted to know about your fiery side, your assertive side, in the case of Mars, your masculine side, can all be seen by the sun. And anything from Venus or Saturn, which are the yin planets, the yin visible planets, can be seen from the moon. So that's how fundamental they are. They really are the fundamental consciousness. So it's everything you would imagine from the outer consciousness. It's the lens through which we view life, how we view life, how we express ourselves, because of course, once you view life through that certain lens, that becomes, how we express ourselves, how we communicate, how we view things, or again, like Jupiter, our perspective on life, all of that is seen through the sun. What was the other thing I was touching on there, right? So the outer consciousness, and so both how we view life, but also how we're seen as well, right? So obviously, if we're going around viewing life a certain way, we're going to be seen that way as well. So we'll talk about Sun in Capricorn. I have my Sun in Capricorn. My birthday will be on the 29th. We have the Sun shifting into Capricorn here this week, so I think it's fitting to talk about it. So Sun in Capricorn folks, for example, are those that view life through a more long-term lens. They view life through the lens of responsibility or discipline or patience, or probably more like perseverance, things take time. And because of that, these individuals can be seen with more of that determination, or reserve, really, is how you might say it with the sun. They're more reserved. It's more constructive. They're usually more productive. Okay, so these are the sort of adjectives that we might describe a sun in Capricorn. But why is it that way? Well, it's because of the lens through which they view life. I would say that's the fundamental. You can see the sun as like where the light is being shown, right? Where the light is shining. And so in this case, if the sun is shining its light on Capricorn, so to speak, then that's what we would expect the person shines their light on. They're more aware of that sea goat energy, that long-term, patient, disciplined view. Now, of course, the sun is also associated with the fifth house and Leo in that sense. So we could also just fundamentally say that the sun is how we express ourselves. It's what we find interesting. It's what we love. It's what we're passionate about. And it's how we express ourselves as well. So very fundamental, very good question, because it really brings up so much about astrology itself. Being that, these polarities, the sun and moon, are really the fundamental parts of the self. But those are some of those ways I would describe it. Maybe some key words you might use to describe the sun is the focus, the view of life, the self-expression, the self-esteem, how one gains energy, things like that. And I'm sure everyone knows their sun sign, so you can always look at it through the lens of that particular sign that it's in. But thanks. I'm feeling lucky for that question. So I'm feeling lucky as I have my sun in Scorpio, so you'll view it through that deeper lens. And then the house will say where, of course. So you have it on the cusp between your 6th and 7th, which means what you focus on are the things of the 6th and 7th, which is your 6th might be your work, your routines, your day-to-day activities, and the 7th of one-on-one relationships. But Sun over Capricorn means that part of ourself, that fundamental part, is going through transformations this week on Tuesday. And so, that was years. We don't want to do that. And so I've got it highlighted here. Sun passing over Pluto. Pluto's just now entering Capricorn for the first time in 250 years. So a lot of collective things going on, like Gifrap was mentioning, a lot of transformations to the systems and structures in which we live. And of course, our own systems and structures as well, So, but anyways, Pluto is about transformation. And so fundamentally, regardless of the sign, Sun over Pluto is the death and rebirth of that self-expression, the death and rebirth of that view of life. It usually starts by being aware of and seeing that deeper world. The Sun over Pluto is like having a sun in Scorpio, right? But then once we are aware of that deeper world, what comes out of that? Well, truthful self-expression, death and rebirth of the ego or the conscious self. Self-empowerment. I talked about that a lot in the weekly video. If you do hear some growling or snorkeling, that's my dog Zeus here, who's always here for these new live streams. But yeah, personal transformations, feeling the death, but then the rebirth that comes from that, right? So as we're approaching Pluto between now and Tuesday, we can expect things to get deeper and deeper, and we're kind of going into that underworld, so to speak. Pluto was seen as the ruler of the afterlife or of the underworld, right? Hades in Greek mythology. We can be, it can feel like we're going deeper into that. But once we have the contact Tuesday, and then especially after, we really feel that post-transformation. We feel the result of that. And the result is feeling more empowered, feeling more willing to face fears, transform things, get to the truth of things, all this kind of good stuff. Aquarius Sky Clock, great to see you. Evening from England, says Aquarius Sky Clock. Nina, hi everyone. Heart, sending out much love to you all, beautiful souls. To all of you beautiful souls, feeling really inspired and energetic today, overflowing with ideas and positive energy. That's great, Nina. Really happy to hear that. So where we're at in the lunar cycle is, we are in the coming into on Tuesday will be the action-oriented phase of the lunar month, the third quarter moon. So the third quarter is really good for taking action and implementing things, especially in the context of the full moon there that we had a week ago. So anything that's been interesting, anything that's been an inspiration, really good to put some of that positive energy or some of that energy into these next few days here. Okay, lots going on this week. I had a mouthful with the weekly video. I was really going deep. I think it was like 20 minutes. But a lot, there's a lot to talk about. We have sign changes. Like we said, the sun's going into Capricorn literally as we speak. Venus is going into Pisces on Thursday. So we're going to start to value. And I wonder, is that where Venus is going retrograde? Because she is going to go retrograde soon. The further she gets away from the sun, the sooner she's going to go retrograde. She's going to go retrograde, I think, in March. But I'm wondering if she's still going to be in Pisces there when she does that, because she is going to be slowing down quite a bit. So let me go ahead and animate this for 10 days at a time. Yeah, she will be going retrograde in Pisces. So that's going to be a very long transit of Venus in Pisces now. Tracking Venus right here. So she'll be, doing her retrograde there, March and April, and then she'll go direct in Pisces, and then finally finish Pisces in something that looks like, I'll give you the exact date here, which will be June 7th. So it's a very long transit of Venus. I mean, Pisces is a very large constellation already, but of course with Venus going retrograde, it can really drag that out. So we're going to have Venus in Pisces for, what is that, like almost 5 months, is it? So yeah, a shift of our value, shift of what we enjoy, shift of how we connect in our relationships. So Venus, Pisces is fundamentally about that spiritual energy. And so what's going to start to happen this week, again, probably around Thursday, is we're going to start to value those spiritual energies. We're going to start to value things like receptivity, like acceptance of life, acceptance about life, more non-physical things like maybe spirituality or creativity or imagination or dreamy things. We get quite dreamy actually with Venus and Pisces. We start to see the value of dreams. We start to see the value of the soul and the spiritual worlds and the etheric world, as I like to call it. And because we start to value that, which is fundamentally what Venus is our values, we can really start to connect that way in our relationships. So we can expect to see our relationships themes coming up here. There can be a lot of unconscious stuff coming up in relationships almost automatically. And we are talking about all relationships here. But this sort of unconscious gets really activated, really involved there. The best and the highest expression of Venus and Pisces is like unconditional acceptance or unconditional love. Just all in all, being more easygoing and more willing to go with the flow of things, more accepting in general. But but yeah, that can be beautiful. And then, of course, connecting in our relationships in the same ways, maybe doing spiritual things, spiritual activities, creative things, intuitive things, getting some alone time with the person, you know, all that kind of more behind the scenes energy. So that's going to be quite the long transit there with Venus. Now, Venus is said to be exalted or very, very comfortable. Oh, that's too hard. Hey, that's too hard, man. Take it easy. We're playing over here. Said to be exalted here. And this is, you know, said to be a very good place for Venus to be in. I don't totally 100% agree with that. I actually believe Pisces is quite a difficult energy to work with just in general. Too hard. No. But let's face it, you know, Venus is an easier planet to work with too. So I think it definitely has its challenges. Again, kind of being in that dreamy or etheric world. There's a lot of beautiful things that come from it. Like I said, more of that spiritual connection or that unconditionality. So that's that sign change anyways. And then there's Mars. So Mars is retrograde going back into Gemini. And that's where he's going to finish his retrograde. So for the coming months now, with all this reflection on the Mars stuff, like our desires, who we are, what we want, it's really in the world or in the realm of communication. You know, how do we communicate? How do we assert ourselves in communication? And also in terms of maybe going back to relearn or rethink about things as well. It's kind of like a Mercury retrograde in many ways. But more from the fiery side, like re-examining how we think, how we assert our thoughts, how we communicate, and where we want to put our energy into when it comes to learning and things of this nature. It can also bring up, you know, partners from the past, matters around peers, siblings, people of equal status, basically, you know, things like this. So that's this week. In fact, that's like now basically Mars is getting closer to Gemini. Tomorrow will be closer to Gemini than Cancer, where he's been. Alrighty, so going through here, let's see. The Accidental Alchemist, great for you to join. So happy to be here with Soul Family. Thank you. Been subscribed for years, but just recently, over the past year, been deep diving into my personal placement after receiving a true sidereal e-reading from Athen. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, The Accidental Alchemist. That's very nice, very sweet. Glad you could join us, and I'm happy that you were able to use that report in a helpful way. Thank you. So Gabriella, great for you to join us. Gabriella will be our moderator from here on. Great to have you, Gabriella. Thank you. If anyone has any questions, needs any links, any supports, in the chat, she's the one to contact or ask these more technical things or getting links and things like that if you'd like. She's there and available. Thank you, Gabriella. April Moore, hi from frigid Texas. Is it frigid? Yeah. Is it cold there in Texas right now? I don't know. I used to live in Austin there for a few years. I know it definitely would sometimes get cold. But anyways, great for you to join us, April. Great to have you. My Mastery, great to see you. That's Joanna, my wife. Hi, everyone. Hi, Athen. Maybe there's something wrong with your mic, like it's clipping a little. Oh, it is? Oh, maybe I'm too close to it. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, it's too loud. Yikes. You know, I have this thing with Windows where I have to constantly readjust my microphone level and the video settings. I don't know what it is, but every time I open, because I use like a few different programs for like video and audio. So like I use Zoom for my sessions. I use an audio recorder for readings. And then of course I do things like videos and live streams and all this. So, I don't know what's going on there, but like swapping between programs, it like resets the settings. I have a feeling it's Zoom actually. Like every time I go to Zoom, I have a feeling like maybe now that I think about it, maybe I have some sort of automatic setting on Zoom where it's like average, just, adjusting all the settings to like make it what they think is like the right setting, but then it changes my default settings. I'll have to look more into that. Hey Taz, great for you to join. I just looked up a friend's birth chart an hour ago and her moon sign is right where the full moon was last week. All right, so she would have gotten that activated. With these transits like the full moons, they sort of, in this case, the full moon was illuminating. So this would be something that would definitely illuminate her inner world, her emotional world. Maybe she became more aware of that yin part of the self we were just talking about with the sun and moon. The full moons tend to illuminate that part of the chart. So her moon was there, and then the full, in her natal chart where it was when she was born, and the full moon illuminated that, really magnifying that inner world for her. But we all have something similar to that every year at some point, depending on what sign your moon's in. You can always check to see where your moon is in. So, for example, my moon's in Leo. So whenever we have that full moon in Leo, that can be a heightened, aware, emotionally sort of time period for me. But, whatever moon sign you have, you can always check that out. Gabriella, if you could you put a link to the chart calculator just for those who maybe don't know their true sidereal sun signs, or like what we're talking about now with the moon sign, they can go check out their signs there. So we do have that chart calculator, the true sidereal placements, very much like you're seeing here. In fact, we do have a visualization now where you can actually see the actual placements, which is really cool. But yeah, definitely check out your sun and moon if you don't know what they are in true sidereal. Christopher Wallace, great for you to join us. Hello, all. Thanks, Athen, for doing these live streams. Thank you, Christopher, for saying that. And it's my pleasure. I think it's great to connect with the community, and really glad to have so many of you here who are willing to join every week and talk about this weird stuff that you can't really talk to the grocery clerk about on your on your daily lives. Tony DeWall, great for you to join us. Sun Mars conjunct in my birth chart. All right, so maybe some things to reflect on there regarding the sun energy we talked about earlier, since Mars is retrograde and will be retrograde for the coming months. I keep forgetting, when does he go direct? It's February 28th, I believe. Yeah, February 24th, right? 23rd. Technically. So February 23rd, between now and then, we're still all kind of reflecting on Mars, which is like our drives, our needs, how we assert ourselves, how we're proactive in our life, things like this. And for you, that might be particularly important because you have the sun conjunct Mars. So you could actually be also reflecting on the self-expression we talked about with the sun too. Holly, ascendant Leo. Cool. So we have my moon in Leo, your sun in Leo, pretty cool. Sun in Sagittarius, moon in Taurus. All right, thanks for sharing, Holly. Christopher Wallace, the Sun-Pluto conjunction are also conjunct Jupiter in the second house on my natal chart. Would you mind giving your insight on that transit? Well, I don't do the personal readings, Christopher, just collective stuff that everyone can enjoy and relate to. But if you can... if you can maybe ask it in a way that might relate to everyone, I'm always happy to answer general astrological questions. All right, Holly, day 8 with COVID, still feeling awful. Oh, that sucks. I hope you feel better there, Holly. Nova Terra, did I miss much? I don't know. I usually just feel like I'm ranting. We talked a little bit about the sun, and it looks like you joined, probably got the sun piece. What was I talking about before that? I think just the, I was ranting about the sun. What does the sun mean astrologically? So maybe stuff you already know about the sun. The Accidental Alchemist, I have Venus and Mars and Pisces in my second house. All right, Venus and Mars. So Venus and Mars conjunct, it sounds like, in Pisces. Maybe some new beginnings there. Once Venus goes into Pisces, maybe expect some that new chapter of your life in regards to what you value particularly, and particularly how you assert yourself and how to have that balance between both assertion and receptivity. Can be particularly important there. Zena, what does that mean for Pisces Sun, Venus retro? So any planets, so if anyone has any planets in Pisces, Venus retro will get you to rethink how to connect to that. side to your life, how to see the value of that side to your life. So if it is your sun, how to see the value of your self-expression, how to express yourself in a way that's maybe a little bit more, again, like feminine or receptive or creative or intuitive. Venus really is about that beauty and that sort of, utilizing that that more creative world, let's say, or sensual world. My dog's really bored. He's trying to get me to play with him. No more biting, though. No. So yeah, so anything that this Venus goes over will get us to reflect on the values of that thing and bring in some of that, beauty of Venus into that thing. In this case, the example was the sun. So Galactic Elf, new name here. Thanks for joining. Hi from Hawaii. Great to have you. Thank you so much for joining. 1 year subscriber, 29 Pisces in Vedic and sidereal. Great for you to join us. Karma Kerfuffle, always great to see you. Thank you for joining. Wow, negative 27 in Ontario, Sudbury. Oof. That is nippy. Maybe what you're used to? Sounds a little colder than normal, though. Not too many places, I think, have that as the normal temperature. Karma Kerfuffle, I'm feeling very tired today, anxious too, doing my best to rest. Good time to rest, especially with Venus going into Pisces and Mars retrograde. I'm talking so much about the Mars retrograde. It's all about the Mars retrograde. But seriously, Mars retrograde is an important time to kind of take it easy in general. Alrighty. Yeah, so hopefully the mic is better there. It was just the level. This level turned up too much, I think. Yeah, Galactic Elf, I do a weekly reading. So you can always find that on the website, Master and Zodiac. Thank you, Gabriella, for the link. You can go to the website there to the chart calculator. And then there's also, oh, there you go, Gabriella. Got you the video directly. Thank you, Gabriella. So there's the weekly report. That's where I go into detail about all this kind of stuff for the week. Awesome. Holly, I learned a lot about myself when Athen did my report. Thank you, Holly. Always glad I can help. The Accidental Alchemist, is a moon in a fucus rare, or does it only seem that way because not many astrologers recognize the constellation? My moon is here and it's not easy to find info on it. Well, let's see how rare it actually is. So how many degrees are we using for a fucus? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It comes out to 13 too, ain't that interesting? Or maybe more like 12 and a half. So we'll kind of expand it by half a degree and say that a fucus is 13 degrees of the ecliptic. Again, this is all just very general because with our system, remember, it's very important to consider anything between 2 signs as a blend of both signs. And I really give this a 3-degree variance. So if you're anywhere 3 degrees at the beginning of a fucus or 3 degrees at the end of a fucus, you really want to consider yourself a blend. The first half would be a blend between a fucus and Scorpio, and a fucus in Sag if it's the second half. But that goes the other way around too. So if those that have very early Sagittarians, for example, they're going to be very a fucus in nature too. But my point here is that there's no hard and fast rule with true sidereal because there's no natural line between the constellations. But we find the midpoint and we kind of adjust it, and so we want to stay a bit broad there. But we can say on average, a fucus is something like about 13 degrees of the sky. So 13, let's see. So if we want to figure out what are our odds of someone having a planet, in this case, the moon in a fucus, we go 360 divided by 13. Or is it the other way? 13 divided by 360. Is that it? Only 3.6%? Did I do that right? For those of you that are good at math out there. See, I said maths. My wife will be proud of me. That's the British way of saying math. But is that right? 3.6%? Does that sound right? Yes, it does. Because 30 degrees is less than 10%. Half of that would be like 5%. So yeah, there's only a 3.6% chance. Someone correct me. I'm not totally convinced that that's right, but I think it is. 3.6% chance, let's round it up to 4% chance that someone has their moon in a fucus. Another way of saying that is 4 out of 100 people, yeah, would have a fucus there. So not very many. That goes for, whatever the planet is we're analyzing. There's a much greater chance that there's a planet in a fucus. Like there's a good chance, not a good chance, but there's a definitely higher chance that one of the planets are in a fucus for somebody. But the moon in a fucus specifically, I think it's 3.6%. So interesting to get into the statistics of it. When you think about that as a percentage of the population, and you think about that in terms of how many people out there maybe should be doing that fucus thing in a moon way. Anyways, to go more into the question, or does it only seem that way? Right, I answered that, right? My moon is here and it's not easy to find info on it. Yeah, I mean, that part is the fact that it's hard to find info isn't so much that it's rare as much as it's just not that much information out there. A fucus has been removed completely from mainstream astrology. And so, it's just not a whole lot of information out there, but we're rediscovering it, we're reinventing it. We know the ancients used it. I mean, it's on the Egyptian walls and everything. So, and we've seen that healer archetype, we've seen the serpent bearer, we've seen all this very extensively used in ancient cultures, but unfortunately removed in recent history from astrology. Human consciousness support. Thanks for joining. Athen, I love your True Sky stuff. I'm just on the company YouTube account right now. Much love. Was waiting for Pluto to mess up all that structure in Capricorn. Yeah, we'll see. But I think any messing up will be for the best. Unamiable Space. Great for you to join us. Thank you. Hi all. First time making it to the live stream. Leo Sun, Pisces Moon. Thank you so much. Unamiable Space, great for you to join us. Thank you for sharing. Human consciousness support. Hey, it's Matt. Oh, hey, Matt Senna. Yeah, longtime friend, longtime client. Crazy to see you here. Awesome. Oh, I think you guys know each other. Okay, cool. It is there's a lot of us connected in this community, know each other. Holly, colder than normal. Yeah, in Ontario, I would imagine. All right, everyone, so we're going to wrap up here. Time always flies on this live stream with you all. I always have a great time. It's always great to connect. Hopefully it's a little bit informative, talking about some of these interesting things like the fucus percentage of the population. But yeah, let me just go through here, wrap up. Mystic Media, great for you to join. So at some point, Venus will be conjunct the North Node. Yes, Venus will be conjunct the North Node. I'll go ahead and tell you exactly when that will be. We're way in February right now, so that will be February 1st. February 1st, Venus will conjunct the North Node. And that's collectively for everyone. What about Venus in a fucus? Yeah, Venus in a fucus, same thing, same percentage of chance. 3.6 in terms of if you pick a planet and say, what are the chances of that planet being in a fucus? Seems to be 3.6%. Very low. Alrighty, so everyone have a great week. Thank you again for all of your support, and I'll see you all next week for the next live stream. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.